Welcome to the Cookies and Coffee Podcast. My name is Cale Owen.
And my name is Maggie Owen. I am the VP of Operations and Cale is the CEO. And together we run 2 8-figure businesses and we are in the middle of building a startup.
And this podcast is to document our journey as high-level executives, as parents, and as husband and wife, so that we can share what's working for us, what we found that doesn't work, lessons, tips, and tricks, so that if you are married and working together or want to do that, you can learn from what has worked for us and for many other people so that you can have an incredible marriage, an incredible business, and an incredible life. All right, welcome back to the podcast, guys. Today's topic, we're talking about non-negotiables.
Yeah. What do you mean by non-negotiables?
Well, I was going to ask you that because this was your topic. So I'm assuming this is non-negotiables in our life, our relationship, and how we go about just setting kind of either boundaries or not boundaries. It's more just like what are things that are non-negotiable in our life that we never miss and we always do. So like the basics. So like the best people in the world, they always do the basics. And these are the stuff that we always set as non-negotiables. Start it off.
Yeah. Non-negotiables. We actually don't even have a ton, but I do think we have a few key, really good ones that keep us aligned at the top. Make sure we're always aligned. We show up our best.
Yep.
Together for the kids and in business. I'd say the first one on a non-negotiable that we said really early on in our relationship, even while we were dating, was date night. And so, you know, they look a lot different now than they used to. But that's the one, that's probably our biggest non-negotiable, is that we have a date night once a week, or date day or date lunch, like, you know, whatever it is. Like we have a date, just you and I, once a week, no matter what.
Yep. It's not like an event or something else. Sometimes if we're traveling, it's a little bit harder, but like we'll get away and we'll do something. Even if it's like we're traveling and it's in the airport and we're by ourselves.
Yep.
Like it's a date. So it gives us a chance to be able to just be together, just us, not other people. Definitely non-negotiable.
Yep.
What's another one?
Well, I think we should dive in a little bit more. So we just had a client event. We just hosted a client event, and we always have 1 or 2 couples who are married and in business together at the event. And we usually get asked, I'd probably say every event we've had like this, where we phone clients in, did a deep dive into their business, and the couple's working together, they've had someone in their life who have told them that they need time, just them, to like not talk about the business. Right. And so we usually ask like, how do you know, what do you guys do on date night? Or how do you guys separate, you know, business and your personal life? And I think that was something really early on that we decided we don't have to separate them. Right. Like we love talking about work and we love talking about the business. Some of our best ideas for the business have come from us at date nights because we're very relaxed. It's super casual. We're not in a stressed thinking mindset. We're not making decisions out of fear. We're in like a free-flowing, enjoyment, joyful state, and allows us to think like really clear. And so we don't think that we have to do that. But it's interesting because I think a lot of the couples are like, they've been told somewhere along the line that they should be able to go out and just not have to talk about work. Like you should go out and not talk about work. And that almost stresses people out more because they think something's wrong with them, that they can't disconnect from it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, they're setting arbitrary rules up for no reason. Like if it doesn't fit within your relationship, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense to me because we love talking about the business. If we didn't love talking about the business, it would be very easy for us to talk about something else.
Yep. We talk about something else that we love.
100%. And again, this is more for the couples that are working together. We understand like if one does not work in the business and you are working in the business, then yes, there needs to be a balance. Like you can't just be talking about the business all the time. You need to find a balance in what you're talking about. But
I do think that's actually a good thing to talk about if you're married and you have 2 different jobs and you're not working together, you don't own a business together, or you don't, you know, work together with inside of a business. But let's say your spouse really does love their job and they're very excited about it. I think being open to like asking questions and showing care and not acknowledgement, but just like being interested, like genuinely being interested in what they're doing can help strengthen a relationship too. And opening up those conversations, because a lot of the times, like, again, we try to separate things, but it's like, why do we have to separate things? I think, do not quote me on this study, but there's like some study that says like basically you end up spending like 30% of your life working or like with coworkers. So it's like 30% of your life that you try to disconnect from which is one why you should do something that you love doing. But also like, why would you try to keep her separate from your actual life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. 1000%. Because like there's a part of it where because you spend so much time at work, we spend so much time doing those things. It's such a part of our life and it shapes who we are, how we think, how we act, our behaviors, everything. And it's really important that if you want to be aligned at the top in your marriage, if you both are working separate jobs or one person's working, one person's not, it's our job as the spouse and partner to show genuine care and a desire to know more about the other person in the relationship. And we can't just think like, if I'm the man and I'm working, I'm the most important person in the relationship because I'm making all the money and I'm caring for it. So therefore my wife needs to listen to me and I can talk about the business and I don't really care about what she's doing. No, like you're life partners. You got into this for that reason. Same thing on the other side, right? It's like, oh, his job's really boring. I don't want to talk about it. Well, it's like that. He's super passionate about that. Like you would be shocked at how much more willing he would be to do a lot of other things and listen to other things and talk about what all the different stuff you want to talk about if you just opened up and just showed a little bit of care and understanding for what he's trying to do. Yep. And so it goes back to that saying that would you learned at, was it Boosterthon? Right?
Oh, yeah.
It was like, be interested, not interesting.
Yep.
And it's so important because this is such good life advice, period. No one wants to be around the person who just talks about themselves.
Yep.
Right? You want to be around the person who's interested in you. Like the person that we love to talk about the most is ourselves. So when you're around other people, be interested in what they're doing. And the same goes in just life in general.
Yep.
You'll have a better relationship, you'll have more sex, and you'll love life. It'll be that much better. What's another non-negotiable? So we have date night. We talked about what we talk about on date night.
Yep.
What's another non-negotiable?
I'm gonna put this in your court. What is your non-negotiable?
Non-negotiable, I think for us is, well, one that we have, I think we set pretty early on, but like whenever we're messaging someone like of the opposite sex, it's always like in a group.
Yeah.
It's never like one-on-one. So work is slightly different because you're in Slacks or you're just working or something. Yeah. But if we have friends or people outside of it and it's a text group, we set a text group. So it's never just a one-off message or something like that.
Yep.
And it's not out of, people will slam this 100%. Like I hope they make a clip out of this and talk about it. But it has nothing to do with not trusting the person. It has everything to do with leaving zero doubt.
Yeah.
Leave zero doubt. And don't allow yourself to don't put yourself ever in a position to where there could be an opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't ever do it. Like, yes, you could say you never do, but many men and many women have said the same thing. And yet they still have taken that extra step and cheated or slid or did whatever in their relationship. And it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So just don't even open that door.
Yep.
So that's one. What's another one?
We just did a video. I just did a video topic on this and got like so much hate for it. But, our non-negotiable of like how long we'll go before we're intimate with one another. Or like how long we'll let it go. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think so it's like we've set our non-negotiable of like we will never go. And, obviously life can happen and travel and events and like but for the most part, consistently no longer than 48 hours.
Yep.
Right. And it's just like, that's so important. And I think it's actually interesting. I think it's Jordan Peterson that he talks about couples that their studies showing that couples who spend at least 90 minutes, they have to spend at least 90 minutes a week, which isn't even that much, but at least 90 minutes a week being, not just intimate, but like having a connection, like having an emotional connection, intimacy with their partner to have a higher likelihood chance of staying together.
Yeah, he's not talking about just sex.
Right.
He's talking about just like one-on-one conversation.
Emotional and intimate. Like, like time together, combined. Just the two of you together, which obviously includes, being intimate as well, but it's not just around that. Obviously, you need to have at least like 90 minutes of emotional connection throughout the week with one another. And I just think it's so important because it's so easy to get caught up in work, in life, and with the kids to just, you start going through life, you're tired. And honestly, it's like you can just forget about it sometimes because there's so much going on, especially running a business and having kids who are in sports. It's like so easy to just let life take over. And so it's so important to like, we have made it a non-negotiable that we always align at the top. And one of the ways we do that is making sure that we're consistently intimate with one another to like, can keep our connection strong.
100%. Life is so much better.
Life is so much better.
Period. Which is interesting because sometimes we'll we'll get it and maybe we're traveling, we're super busy and it stretches to like 3 days and we're just like irritable, like just kind of a little on edge at work or whatever. And then we're like, oh yeah, that's why. And then we do it and life is so much better. The colors are all brighter. Music sounds better. Life is better. Just
make better decisions.
Yeah, it's just better. You're more content. You're happier. It's the way it should be.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. You're supposed to enjoy each other. That's a really big thing. This isn't non-negotiable. This is a side tangent. Hopefully you picked someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with that you actually enjoy being around.
Yeah.
Don't forget that for people that are listening to this. Is like your goal, hopefully, when you made that decision was like, I really enjoy being around this human, right? If you take a step back, it's really weird that we just pick a human out of the world and we're like, you're my person, like the rest of my life. I'm making this vow, you're my person, right? I think it's beautiful and it's incredible and it's amazing. And so many powerful things can come from that. So don't forget why that actually happened in the first place. And the reason why people forget is they get caught up in what's happening now. They get caught up in their own problems. They stop communicating. They stop talking. And they start focusing on all the negative things that may be happening in their own personal life rather than shouldering the burden together. And that's so key, especially for dudes. Like, and women, you need to be receptive to this on this side if you're not. But like your guy needs a place. Like I just got off a coaching call with someone right before this. And he talked about how he really has no one to confide in. And he feels so alone. And he's an entrepreneur. And he struggles with a lot of the things that most entrepreneurs and men struggle with. And he said, I don't want to burden my friends with it. I don't want to put that on them.
Should get new friends.
Agreed. But it's also like, why aren't you telling your wife this?
Yeah.
Why aren't you having these conversations with your wife? Because this is how you grow closer. This is how you grow together. This is how you become stronger in your relationship and you become a better man. Because you need that. You need to have those conversations. And unfortunately, I don't think too many people do that.
Yeah.
And that comes from just enjoying being around each other. And through that enjoyment and time and that communication, trust builds even more than what it was before.
Yeah.
And then it becomes second nature, which is for us, one of the reasons why, going back to talking about work, one of the reasons why we're able to talk about work on date nights a lot. Number one, we enjoy it. But number two is if we had something going on personally, we would have already been talking about it. That would be topic of discussion number one. Because if something's going wrong, like, which I can't remember the last time something has, like it's immediate. Like we're talking about it.
Yep.
And when that happens, you can just enjoy life a lot more. And you also get to enjoy the quiet times when you're just sitting there and you don't have anything to talk about. It's just like, we just
which happens sometimes.
Yeah. Just be on a car ride and just quiet. So
yeah.
What's another non-negotiable?
I think it actually goes along the lines with that conversation still is if we are having problems or issues or whatever, which doesn't happen often, but if it does, we never go outside of our relationship to solve that problem. Like we don't go to a friend or an outside party. Like we come to each other and talk about it with one another. And think that we've never been in a position where we haven't been able to resolve something between just you and I. Obviously, I know there's cases where like you have to see a therapist. You have to, you do have to bring in a third party, person who is qualified to handle those types of things. Thankfully, we've never had that, but we're never going to like have a petty conversation about one another to a friend.
Yep.
We're always going to come to one another and talk about it. And it's like, we have always said I would never, if I haven't had the conversation with you yet, I would never talk with somebody else about it.
Yep. That's a really good point. I totally forgot about that because it's just second nature now.
Yeah, now
it's like I couldn't imagine going to someone else and telling them without talking to you first or having a conversation. And by then it's solved. So why do I need to tell anybody else?
Right.
So, and that's comes with a mature relationship. That also comes with two people that are mature enough in the relationship to understand that they're on the same team and that there's no winning when you're both trying to fight. There's no winning. You both lose. It doesn't matter if someone wins or not. There is no winning. So if you have disagreements, work through them, come to a decision together, and remember that you are on the same team.
Yeah.
I have a non-negotiable. I can't sit in the middle seat on a flight.
Which means I am always sitting in the middle seat on flights.
We can change that next time if you want the window seat, because then I can just sit middle and then I'll just lean towards you.
Oh, then we gotta like walk all the way out. It's like,
it's annoying.
or we just always fly first class.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So
That'd be nice.
I'm gonna make that my non-negotiable.
There you go.
My life non-negotiable.
I know. I think one non-negotiable is this, and we do it naturally because we travel a lot more. But one non-negotiable I think that we have and I say I think because it's something that just has naturally happened and we miss it if we don't, is we usually every year take 1 or 2 days just to you and I, and we plan for like the next year or something. Like we just talked about it and it's like, we haven't done it yet. We need to do it.
Yeah.
But every year we do it at some point. And I think that's a non-negotiable where we take 1 or 2 days away, and it could be a staycation, it could be a trip, could be whatever, but we go and we plan the next year and we look to the future because it's a review of the year before, like the year that you just went through.
Yep.
What did you learn? What's changed? Have the plans changed? Do we need to make adjustments? What about cheat codes? Do we need to make updates to cheat codes?
Yep.
Non-negotiables. Like what about our life has changed our beliefs around certain things? And then it's looking to the future of, what are our plans? What are we trying to accomplish? If we don't hit this benchmark, what's our next plan after that? How are we going to adjust? Things like that.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point. I think we've gotten, I would say away from it. It just now it's happening a little bit more just like in everyday conversations. But the problem with that or that I've noticed and why I brought this up most recently, like, oh man, we haven't done this yet this year. Like we haven't normally we would do it quarterly and we like recap on the quarter. Yep. And we've gotten away from it because we will just talk about it. But the problem with that is we don't like actually sit down and document it.
Yep.
Like there's parts of our relationship that should be treated like a business with reviewing finances, setting goals, writing them down, measuring where you are to them, measuring if anything needs to change, making adjustments. And that's so important because every season of life is so different and things happen and things come up and things change. And so it's really important that together as a couple, we are aligned at the top. We know where we're going and we're making decisions every day that are leading us to where we want to go. I think we've probably noticed it more recently that we haven't done it in a little while is that we're trying to make decisions and we're like, oh wait, where's our like North Star here? Where's our guiding principle?
Yep.
We're missing it. Like, how do we know we're making the right decisions to set us up for the next 3, 5, 10, 20 years? Is this where we want to be when we're 80?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm glad you brought it up. It'll be really good.
Yep.
Also a chance to get away, which is always fun.
I always take the chance.
What's another one?
And those are all the main ones that I have, unless you have any that I don't know about. But I think the biggest one is like non-negotiable. Like we are always aligned at the top. Like we always make sure we're good always. And we do that by having consistent date nights once a week and prioritizing our emotional and intimate relationship together as well to make sure that we can consistently stay aligned at the top.
Agreed. And for those of you listening, if you notice these non-negotiables, they're not individual non-negotiables. These are combined non-negotiables, right? You could have your own individual non-negotiable, but you need the ones together.
Yep. These are definitely relationship non-negotiables. Yeah. I would say like the cheat codes are like the individual
needs and desires.
And like individually, that would be like the non-negotiable that I need to feel loved and supported, or you need to feel loved and supported. But these definitely were focused on relationship wise.
Yep. So you have 2 levels of cheat codes. You have the combined cheat codes and then you have the individual cheat codes.
Yeah.
And that's the way to think about it. And as you grow, like they're going to adapt, they're going to change. And like some will stay and some will just be like in this season of life, it doesn't matter anymore. And so kids can change that, work, travel, all that stuff can change the dynamics of non-negotiables or cheat codes. But that's why it's also super good to have as your primary non-negotiable / cheat code is together. You're always aligned at the top.
Yep.
And then also set that time aside to really review where you're at. And if you're early on in your relationship, do it more frequently. So
yeah, we used to do it weekly early on.
Well, I had a conversation with another guy this week, coaching him and kind of mentoring him. And I think he listens to our podcast. I don't know if his girlfriend listens to our podcast as well, but he was asking about relationship stuff. And I just said, I talked about the cheat codes. He hadn't listened to that episode. He just messaged me and said he just listened to it. Which is
That's cool.
Shout out. And I was like, you should just do this weekly. Just sit down and just do a review of the week. Just do it weekly. And then you'll get to the point where it just becomes everyday conversation. And then your reviews become monthly. And then your reviews become quarterly. And then your reviews become yearly. But the thing is that the habits put in place are always there.
Yep.
And the speed to correction is so much faster than what it was before.
Yep.
So if there's something that's amiss, you recognize it faster and you fix it faster or address it faster than before. But starting with just like a weekly meeting, if you haven't done this before, highly suggest it. Just a check-in. It's just a temperature check. It's for the guys. I'll get into this really quick tactically. For the guys, if you do this, go about it not looking for anything from your partner at all. like your spouse, just go in and just be like, how can I be a better husband this week? How can I love you more? What would you like to see?
It's funny, before we even like had a name for this and started calling them cheat codes, but we used to do, when we first got married, we would sit down and we'd ask each other, I think it was like 4 questions. So it would be, when did you most feel loved this week? Wherein did you most feel not supported this past week? So it's like a review of the previous week. And then it was, how can I love you better? Or like, how can I support you in this upcoming week? What do you need from me to feel supported in this upcoming week? And then the last question was, how can I pray for you this week? What do you need me to pray for you about?
Yep. That's a great framework to start off with. 100%.
Yep. So. Like I said, it was early on. I think we only did a couple. And then I just kind of like, the more you talk about it, if you do it frequently, then you just start communicating in the moment. It happens daily. Like, hey, I felt not very supported because you didn't show up this way, or, you didn't take out the trash. And so that was like really frustrating for me. But you just like learn how to communicate in the moment, which just becomes easier and easier over time.
Yep.
And then when you have to have the harder, deep conversations, it becomes a lot easier to have it because you've already built all of this trust with the other person.
And don't shy away too. This is for anyone, man, woman, doesn't matter. Don't shy away from digging deeper into stuff, especially if it's about you in regards to how they view you. Meaning, don't shy away from, if you're messing up, dig deeper into why is that a problem? How can I be better? Like always seek to dive. Don't keep it surface level. Like try to figure out like, okay, what am I doing wrong here? Like, why are you seeing this? Why do you feel that you're not supported? If they just say, I don't feel supported, it's like, well, okay, how can I make you feel more supported? Why are you feeling this way? What are my actions or behaviors that are leading to this? Right? Go deeper. Don't just take it surface level. If you truly want to have an exceptional relationship, it requires that level of communication. Otherwise, you'll never touch it. You'll never get close. You'll just be ships in the night. It
goes the other way too. It's like, if I'm thinking, let's say I'm thinking why am I frustrated that I feel like you're not supporting me? And I think, this isn't going to happen right away, but I think over time you can start to ask yourself the question too, like back. I'm like, wow, I'm feeling like he's not supporting me, but it could be a reflection of myself too. Am I not supporting him? And that's why I'm feeling this way. Like I'm projecting how I'm showing up onto you, which, like I said, isn't always the case, but sometimes that is the case. Like, I found myself like getting really frustrated sometimes, and I just take a step back. I'm like, why am I feeling this way? I'm like, wow, I'm being really selfish about this right now. And like, that's on me. That's not on you. I shouldn't be frustrated with you. Like, that's me because I'm not holding up my end of the bargain in this marriage for, whatever the case may be. But I found that sometimes when I'm feeling frustrated and I want to take it out on you and like put these things in place, so like, you're not supporting me. Sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, oh no, that's actually on me. And then it allows me to like come back to the conversation better.
Yeah. More even keeled across the board.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to come at it. There can only be one person in the angry boat. And like when you're in the marriage, you don't want anyone in the angry boat.
Yeah.
Like no one. There shouldn't be an angry person in the angry boat. You're together, you're rowing in the same direction. And maybe your cadence is off a little bit. So you need to figure out why and get it back on cadence. I like it. Cool. That was it. Hope you guys like this. As always, if you find value in this, the biggest thing that would let us know that you are finding value in this is just drop a review and share it with someone else. We would really genuinely appreciate that. We really also appreciate the reach outs on this. So if you're getting value from this, just shoot us a DM or drop a comment. Let us know. That lets us know that you're getting value. We enjoy doing this just for ourselves as always, but we also want to make sure that it's valuable for other people and enjoyable. We appreciate you all, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right.
I love you.
Love you too.